ours for once. We're going to do an interview. And I'm going to let this young man introduce himself at this time.
I'm Justin Bowen. I'm the defensive coordinator at Southside High School.
All right, Justin, I've known you for a while now. Last year I had the privilege of coming on with you and Keith and doing some work with Oxford, and got to know you there. Before we dive into what we're doing here, we're going to let everybody know we're doing a new series called New Faces and New Places. And you're going to be our first person we've had on there. So with that being said, this is kind of how you ended up where you're at today. But before we dive into that, we want to take it back to what, your career growing up, what got you into coaching to begin with. So let's take it back to the high school days and you played sports.
All right. I grew up in Alexandria, Alabama, which is not far from here at all. And if you're from anywhere around here, you know the history behind Alexandria and the athletics and just the pride that they have, the tradition that they have. So I got to grow up in that community and was extremely blessed to play basketball, baseball, and football at that school, and got to see a lot of success, at that school, and got to be under a lot of really good coaches. I know on the show before you've talked with Coach Ginn, and he talked about his dad, and I know growing up, that was kind of the historical figure. Like everybody wanted to be around him, Coach Ginn, and everybody wanted to learn from him, and everybody just wanted to be in his presence, just because of the respect that he had gained from being so successful in high school football and also high school basketball. And, so when I was young, just getting to be around guys like that, and I can remember like my 6th or 7th grade year volunteering to be the ball boy at the Alexandria games, just because honestly I just wanted to be around Larry Ginn, and I just wanted to be close to him and hear him talk and hear him coach the game and things like that. So like I said, was really blessed to be around really good guys, at Alexandria, as far as coaches and tradition and teachers, people in the community. I'm still in debt to that community for the support that they gave me. My mom went through a lot of health issues when I was growing up, and that community just kind of rallied around my family and rallied around me and gave us a lot of support. So growing up, you couldn't have asked for a better community, to be a part of, athletically, academically, socially. Just everything about that community is great, and it still is to this day. And moving on from playing sports there and going to school there, I went to Jacksonville State, and I started working in the athletic department there. And I knew that I wanted to get into coaching. I just didn't know how soon. And I actually had a coach who's actually the head coach at Sandrock now, Alan Heath. He was my junior high coach, my junior high baseball coach, and he actually, my senior year after I graduated from Alexandria, he was going to take the offensive line job at Mumford, where Will Wagner was the head coach, and they kind of grew up with each other at Host Bluff. And so he knew I wanted to get into coaching, and so he called me. I think I was at a youth camp in Panama City, and he calls me and he says, "Hey, I'm taking this job at Mumford." He said, "I need somebody to help me with junior high basketball." He said, I'll let you run it. He said, "I just need somebody to do it for me." And he said, "I'll just kind of be there on the bench with you, and I'll let you run things." So I said, "Man, that's awesome." I really didn't have that plan to work to get started that fast, because I had school and had, the situation with my mom going on. And so, but I told him, "Look, that's awesome. I want to do that." Well, I think it might have been a day or two later, I'm still at that youth camp, and Coach Wagner calls me. And, I didn't know him. The only person I knew at Mumford was Coach Heath, and he hadn't even got there yet. And so Coach Wagner calls me and says, "Hey, I hear you're going to do, you're wanting to help do basketball. How about coming to helping me do football?" He said, "I need some help." And I said, "That's awesome. I don't know. I'm coming from the wing tee, and I know you run the spread." I said, "I'll do whatever you need me to do. I'll just be a sponge, and you tell me what to do, and I'll do it." So ended up going to Mumford. My first year there, I say I coach quarterbacks. We have Monteo Garrett, and Monteo is a stud. He didn't need any coaching. You just get out of the way and don't mess him up. But my first year, I think I kind of followed Coach Wagner around, honestly, kind of like a puppy. I was trying to learn and soak up as much as I could. Anything that I could learn, I tried to learn. And after that first year, I think my first year there, I think we were 7-4, 8-4, something like that. And then going into my second year, we had an opening at the defensive back coach position. And at a smaller school, we were a 4A school then, we just had one coach to coach the whole secondary. And I knew that spot was open. And at the time, I was only 19 years old. I was still in college. I had only been removed a year from high school. But I met with Coach Wagner and told him, look, I know you have this opening at defensive backs. And I said, I honestly don't know exactly how much I know, but I know that I'll work hard and I'll learn as much as I can. But I want to coach that position. And if you'll give me the chance, I promise I'll do a good job. And so, I was lucky. He gave a 19-year-old kid that he really didn't know too much the opportunity to have complete control of the whole secondary. And I did all the indie drills. I helped in game plan, and that helped me. I think that year was kind of the year that started molding me as a coach. And during that time at Mumford, we had a lot of success. Went to the semifinals. We saw quarterfinals appearance. Went to the second round after the first year. So we saw a lot of good. We had a lot of good players, and we had a lot of good success there. And I was under. I can't go without saying. The defensive coordinator I was under, who's now the DC at Gardendale, he was the same DC that we had when we moved to Hazel Green, Eric Firestone. He's the guy that kind of started molding my defensive mind. And, I talk to him still to this day, at least once a week probably, about things that I should do or tips. And so just getting to learn that those 3 years that I was at Mumford, especially being a young kid, just trying to soak up as much knowledge as I could, those were huge for building the foundation for me as a coach is where I'm at now. And so after those 3 years there at Mumford, Coach Wagner took a head coaching job at Hazel Green High School. And I still had a semester left of college, so it didn't really work out where I could go right up there right away. So I knew that I was just still wanting to continue learning the game. And so I was trying to find a school around here, around Calhoun County that I could help at and be able to drive to and still go to school and stuff. And so I really didn't know Coach Miller at Sachs, but I knew the defense that they ran. I knew they had success, and I knew he had a really good defensive mind. So I called him and I said, hey, Coach, I'm so-and-so, and I would really like to come help you. And, I'm going to help you during the football time, and then I'll have my internship and I'll have to go do that. But I would love to help you any way I can. And so I think a couple of weeks before I was set to start that, my mom passed away from Crohn's disease and an artery disease. And so I missed about half of the summer starting with them. And they were great. I think I had only met Coach Miller maybe one time, and him and his wife showed up at the hospital in Birmingham and brought us all kinds of stuff for the waiting room and things like that. So I really appreciated that from them. But that whole season, I got to see a different defense, a different way to run things. And I think as a coach, especially a young coach, going and learning from as many people as possible as you can is really important. And trying to get out of your comfort zone and trying to learn as many different ways to do things, because there's going to be some things that you like that people do. There's going to be some things you don't like that people do. But if you can mix those and take things from everybody, you can kind of build your own, thinking behind things and the way you want to do things. And so I helped that year at Sachs. We had a pretty good year there. And then when I graduated, Coach Wagner hired me at Hazel Green. So I started coaching there, and I was the defensive back coach there. And then I was also outfield coach and helped some with the pitchers for varsity baseball my first year there. Then my second year, we were there 2 years. I was there 2 years. My second year there, we had some issues come up right before the season. We had some things go on that, just some unforeseen circumstances that happened, and ended up not having as good a year as anybody would really want. But baseball season rolled around, and I had been coaching baseball, and we ended up winning the state championship there. And, coaching baseball and football, there's things that I've been able to take from both sports and things that I can use, whether I chose to be a football coach full-time or a baseball coach full-time. And those coaches that I've been under have taught me things, whether they were football coaches or not. And so after winning the state title, Coach Wagner had taken the offensive coordinator job at Oxford. And so I remember finding out that he was going to go. And so I was trying to figure out, hey, am I going to stay here and coach baseball? We just have won a state championship in baseball. Or am I going to go and keep following Coach Wagner and being loyal to him and trying to stay with him and continue just being around him. And I had an opportunity. I talked with Ryan Heron, who was the coach at the time. We went and met with him and ate lunch with him. And they hired me as the defensive back coach at Oxford. And when I was growing up in Calhoun County, a lot of people, and I can remember being from Alexandria, I was the same way. A lot of people don't like Oxford. They're like, hey, they're the rivals to everybody in the county. We want to beat Oxford. We want to do this. So when I was growing up, Oxford was like the pinnacle for me. Like, hey, they're the big 6A school. At that time, there wasn't many 5A schools around here, so they were a lot bigger than everybody else. And so I remember thinking, that's pretty cool, getting to go and be at that school, and one, get to go coach for Coach Brooks, who was a legendary and is a legendary high school baseball coach, going and getting to be under Coach Herring, and then just being a part of that program who had so much success and such a rich history and had great coaches that had coached there to go coach college, like John Gross. He's been there, and then Niblett, where he's at Hoover now. And so I was really excited about the opportunity to go and be a part of such a historical program. And so obviously was there 3 years. We won a state championship, my second year there when Coach Etheridge came. So I was thinking about this last night when I knew, me and you were going to sit down and talk. I've just been extremely blessed. The last, I guess, 6 years I've actually been teaching, but about 10 years that I've been coaching now, to be a part of so many great programs, to be around so many good athletes, to be under so many great head coaches. I think last night, I was thinking, if you count up all the head coaches, coordinators, and the assistants that have been head coaches, I think I've been around about 16 different head coaches in my 3 or 4 programs I've been in. So we've had Coach Osment that was with us at Oxford, who was head coach at Glencoe, and now who's the head coach at Arab. Coach Stanford, who was on our staff at Oxford, who's now at Auburn. He was the head coach at Woodland. And just there's multiple head coaches. Coach Cochran, who's the defense coordinator at Oxford. So I can't express how blessed I've been to be around so many great guys and great coaches, and just, great coordinators. Like I just mentioned, Coach Cochran. He's definitely one of the most well-respected high school coaches in the state of Alabama. And I would say, I've told multiple people this, by far probably the best defensive line coach that I've ever seen, ever heard of. The guy's incredible, and the way he can, coach guys and get the best out of his athletes. And so, it's kind of been amazing just to be able to learn from so many people. I know I've said that, but, just being able to pull from every one of those guys and having those guys on my phone. If I called right now, if I picked up the phone, every one of them would answer. And they'd answer any question that I asked them. They would help me in any way possible. And so, in closing off that question, long answer, but,
no, go ahead.
I'm just super thankful, for those guys, and I'll forever be in debt to those people that have helped lay the foundation for me as a coach and helped me, build my foundation and my way of thinking for how I want to do things, whether it's defense or a future program as a head coach. So it's just been great. I've been blessed the last several years.
Now, the foundation from Alexandria, there's so many coaches. Obviously, the Yen brothers, yourself, Kyle Davis,
Coach Tucker.
Jeremy, Coach Tucker.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on. That foundation is something special about that place over the last,
Yeah.
25, and obviously it comes from, a lot of it comes from Coach Yen, but that secret sauce that went on during those times, and it carried over even to your years,
Yeah.
right? So, what is it about Alexandria that kind of separated it and created so many good coaches all over the state?
The one thing that I would probably point out is I never remember as a player going into any single game, whether that was baseball, basketball, or football, whether it didn't matter who we were playing. I never remember going into one single game where anybody in that locker room thought, hey, there's a chance we could get beat, or hey, we might, this team's going to be tough to beat, or, we're going to have to play our best game to beat these guys. We thought that every time we stepped on the field, everybody in that locker room, coaches, players, we thought that we were the best team. We thought that we were going to beat everybody. And that's just the mentality that's been built at Alexandria through the success and through the mindset of the coaches and just the community. A lot of people that grow up in Alexandria, they don't leave. They're people that have been there forever. Their grandparents played there, their parents played there, and then they go and play there. And so, it's just like you said, a mindset of, hey, nobody's going to play with us. We're the best team every single time we step on the field. And even though sometimes the outcome of the game doesn't show that, every time we step on the field, we think, hey, we got a chance to win this game. We're probably going to win this game. And whether that's basketball, baseball, football, that was just the way it is. And, like I said, that was the whole locker room. All of my buddies, they thought the same way, and it's the same way now. if you go and watch them play, they're going to be in just about every single game that they play, no matter who it's against, because of the mentality that they have and the work ethic that they have and the things that their parents and the coaches have instilled in them.
That's very special, man. I appreciate that answer. It's just wherever we go in the state, there's two areas that always gets mentioned, no matter what it is. One's Clay County, like everybody's ran into Danny Horn in some format, and then that Alexandria run, which is really unique to me. Let's fast forward a little bit. Now, you're currently at Southside High School, which last year had a very successful season. I know you guys faced them at Oxford. But kind of take us to how you got there to Southside, taking it, from the top, basically.
All right, so, this is a story a lot of people, don't know. The people kind of closest to me do know this. So we're in the middle of baseball season, obviously at Oxford this year. Anybody around here kept up with baseball, they saw we had a really good year. I think we were like 32-8 and had a really good season. So, a lot of times when football season ends, the coaching carousel kind of starts spinning. Coaches start moving around, jobs start coming open, and things like that. So my wife and I, and also me and some coaches that I really respect and admire, we had conversations of like, hey, I think I'm at the point in my career where I would like to go, if the opportunity presents itself at the correct, at the right location, the place that I fit, I would like to go try to be a coordinator. And honestly, there was some thought into, hey, I might want to go be a head baseball coach. And so, this year throughout the year, I kind of thought that maybe at the end of the year I would try to see what's out there, and just see if there's an opportunity to go and try to, grow myself as a coach, in any way, whatever that could be, whether it's football, baseball. And so, I guess halfway through baseball season, sometime during baseball season, I had seen that the Southside head football job had came open, and I grew up really familiar with Southside. My uncle, who still lives right across the street from Southside Baptist Church, they've lived there for 40 or 50 years. He was in the fire department at Southside, was there for 20 years. He was the fire chief for 10 years in Southside. I had a cousin that had a wrestling state championship at Southside, so I'm familiar with the community and with the town, and I don't live far from there. So when that head football job came open, I had been kind of thinking about a coordinator position, like trying to find a spot if, like I said, something presented itself. Well, the head coaching job came open, and, I talked to some coaches, and I talked to my wife, and talked to people that I really valued their opinion. And I was like, why not try for the head coaching job? Why not? I want to be a head coach down the road. Why not give this a shot? And, I've told Coach Holcomb this, I've told a lot of coaches this, that, all these other stops that I've had that I've mentioned, when I went into those decisions, I honestly can sit here and say, I didn't put a lot of prayer and thought into those decisions. I said, hey, this guy's going to go there and I'm following him. Or, hey, this coach is offering me this, I'm going. And, I really didn't seek a lot of counsel. I didn't pray about it. It was just a decision that was mine. I just made it. And so when that Southside job came open, I said, look, I'm gonna go after this job. I'm only 27 years old, but when I told the Oxford baseball players that I was leaving, which I had to do before the baseball season was over with, I told them, I said, look, and I told them the same story that I'm telling you. I told them, look, I hope that one day when you're out of high school that you take chances. If you want something, you go after it. Whether you think that, hey, I don't know if I'll get this, or I don't know if I'll get this job, or I don't know if I need this promotion, I hope you go after it. And so I kind of use this to tell them that. But that's what I did. I tried to go after the head coaching job at Southside. And so I put in my resume for it and ended up hearing back. I was like, there's no way I'm getting interviewed for this. 27-year-old kid, no coordinator experience. And so I put in for my application and then heard back and said, they told me I was getting an interview. So I was ecstatic. I was like, man, this is awesome. I'm going to get interview experience. This is great for me at my age to be able to do this and just to be able to get in the room. And so I prepared. I had 3 weeks, which is a pretty long amount of time to prepare for the interview. And I did everything I could. I could have told you every kid on the team's birthday. Like, I knew everything about the whole program in and out. And so I interviewed for the job and, thought that it went really well. Was told it went really well. And, ended up coming down. And obviously, I'm not sitting here as the head coach at Southside. And so they get to give the job to Coach Holcomb. And, I was a little disappointed when it happened, but I was also like, look, that wasn't God's plan. There's something else out there for me that's going to present itself, whether it be now or whether it be later. So that door kind of closed. I say it closed, but the door kind of closed. And so Coach Holcomb gets that job. I'm not exactly sure how long he was there, maybe a week or so. And I kind of shot him a message on Twitter. And I think about the same time, and me and him haven't really talked exactly about this, but I think about the same time he had talked to maybe the principal and some people at Southside about me interviewing for the head coaching job. And they knew I was a defensive coach, and they knew that they needed a defensive coordinator. So Coach Holcomb reaches out to me. We talk on the phone I think the first time we talked on the phone for about an hour, and we talked back and forth, and we ended up meeting a few times. And there's a funny story. Like the first time we met was the day the tornadoes hit a while back and just completely came through Apache and Lincoln and at some parts of Alexandria. While that tornado is hitting, I'm sitting in the field house at Southside High School, and me and Coach Holcomb have to go get in the fetal position in the bathroom. And this is the first time me and him have ever met. And me and him were sitting there, and he's like, man, this is going to be a great story. We're going to be, from 10 years from now, we're going to be together, and you're going to be like, hey, remember that first time we met, and there was a tornado hitting right outside, and me and you were in the bathroom together. And so the whole time we're like trying to do this serious interview, and I'm trying to interview for this coordinator job. Yeah, and trying to say, talk about what I want to do. And I'm like, every 5 minutes we're having to go from his office back to the bathroom because we think the tornado's about to hit. And I'm on the phone with my wife, and so it was crazy, man. And so, we ended up meeting a couple of times, a couple more times, and he would offer me the defensive coordinator job. And, it's a really extremely tough decision to leave Oxford, especially in the shape that Oxford is in. We've had so many good, we had won a state championship 2 years ago. We've had so much success in baseball and football. So many kids coming back, especially on the baseball side of things that, we talked about all year long. Look, the next 3 years we got a chance to really win it. And baseball, or football, you're always going to be competitive. So it was a really tough decision to leave that community and leave that school, especially in the state that it's in. It's doing so well. But I knew, and I talked with Coach Adams, Coach Etheridge, Coach Wagner, Coach Cochran. I talked to every coach I possibly could about this decision. And, they were like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do with your career? And I said, well, eventually I want to be a head football coach down the road. And they said, well, look, if you want to do that down the road, you need to take this job. And you need to try to do this. And, that was kind of what I wanted to do anyway. But hearing it from those guys who've had so much more experience than I have and have been around the block so many more times than I have, it kind of verified, hey, I need to do this. And so, I accepted the job, and it was tough. Like I said, I had to tell my baseball kids I didn't want it coming out during baseball season and messing all what we had going on, chance to win a blue mat there. And so I told the baseball kids, and then kind of shut that Southside thing off for a while and finished baseball because we made a run at possible state championship there. And it's just been so good. Like Coach Holcomb is a younger guy too, and he knows what my goals are because he has the same goals, or he had the same goals when he was coming up. And so he's been so great, like helping me, and he's given me that defense and just laid it over, like, hey, coach, you do whatever you want. I'm going to do offense and you do defense. And so for me at 27 years old, being able to have this opportunity at a 6A school, at a school that, like you said, had so much success last year and has had success in the past, it's just, I couldn't ask for a better situation. I can drive 20 minutes every day and be at the school. Miss Tucker, Miss Sanders, all the assistant principals, the administration, like at Etowah County, like everybody has been so welcoming to me. And I feel like the buzz around Southside football has really blown up, in the last couple of months since we've had spring and stuff. And I feel like we're bringing a lot of excitement, like Coach Holcomb, things he's doing, the things that I'm doing, the things that just the community is doing for that program right now is huge. And being able to get my foot in the door there and be a part of something there has been awesome. And, like I told Coach Holcomb when we met and he offered me the job, I said, look, because a lot of guys, if they apply for a head coaching job and they don't get it, they're going to say, I'm done with that school, and they're going to feel bad about the situation and have bad blood there. But I told him, I said, look, there's a reason that God put Miles Holcomb as the head football coach at Southside High School and not Justin Bowen. And there's a reason that Miles Holcomb called Justin Bowen and offered him the defensive coordinator job at Southside. So maybe I wasn't ready for that. And now seeing the stuff that Miles has to do, and I already had saw that before, but seeing the stuff that Miles having to do and being a little closer to that role, I'm like, man, I'm kind of glad I didn't get that spot. But I hope that I can be of value to him and help him in different ways and try to take some of the load off of him, which is what I've tried to do already. But it's been a blessing, and everything has worked out exactly like God laid it out to be. And so I've been blessed to be able to be in that spot, and I'm just glad that I'm there. The kids have been amazing. The administration's been amazing. The community, man, they've just making peanut butter jelly sandwiches, showing up to the youth camp. I mean, we've had almost 100 kids there. And so everything is as good as you could ask for right now, and I'm glad to be there.
Now, I won't hold you too much longer, but I got a couple more questions. When you go to self-evaluate yourself, say at the end of this season, I know a lot of good coaches do that. They turn inward to see how their performance was. What would you say would be a successful first season for yourself as a defensive coordinator?
The biggest thing for me first, it really managing the kids has been the biggest thing for me. Like, I'm trying to coach every position, even though I have great assistant coaches, that are doing a great job learning the system. But for me, being my first year as a defensive coordinator and first year at Southside, I've wanted to make sure that every position is getting coached the way I want it to be coached, because we're trying to build that foundation there. It'd be different if, I had already been there and we were already running the same things on defense and all that. But, having to try to manage every position, and making sure, hey, when I watch film, hey, is the defensive tackle doing what he's supposed to be doing? Is the outside backer doing what he's supposed to be doing? When I was a position coach, I just watched my position, and I tried to make my guys the best that they could possibly be. But now as a defensive coordinator, I've got my eye on everything. And so just managing the whole defense, and then also managing the coaches. I'm 27 years old. Every coach on my staff, maybe besides one, is older than me. And so that's one thing that I've had to try to manage. And, they've done a great job. Like I said, Coach Naismith, Coach Wynn Knight, Coach Jordan Baker. We hired the defense coordinator that was at West End, I believe, John Mark Mintz, and he's been a good addition. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting anybody. But all of our defensive coaches have been amazing. And they've been so welcoming to me, because, I know sometimes, getting that situation with a younger coach, it might be kind of like, hey, let's see if he knows what he's doing. But they've been so welcoming and open to me and to learning what I want to do. But looking at the end of the season, I would like to, when I look back, how did I lead these guys? Like, did I do a good job teaching the concepts and the things that I wanted to do where they can go out and do it themselves? Like today we were doing some defensive line stuff. One of the defensive line corrected another guy. And to already be doing that, and we're just, I got 2 weeks with the spring, and then we had a week and 2 days of the summer to already have guys doing that is huge for me, and huge for our defense line, and huge for our whole defense. So we have guys already correcting each other. So when I look at the end of the year, when I look back, how did I lead these guys, and did I do the best job teaching them what I want them to know? Because we're coming in and doing a whole new thing on defense. Am I doing the best job I can be, or that I can do, teaching them in every way possible? Because just like in the classroom, all these kids learn different. Like, some of them want you to draw it up. Some of them want to see it on film. Some of them want to see you actually do it for them. Some want to see another kid do it. So all these kids learn different. So I'm trying to do the best job I can do is giving all these kids multiple ways to learn what I want them to learn. And then also just being leaders in the school and in the community and on the team. I talk to them every single day about leadership and about what they need to do to lead and how to lead in the right way. And if we can get those guys, not just on the defense, but on the offense too, to be leaders in their community, in their school, and on the team, then I feel like I've done my job.
All right. The last thing I want to ask you here, Coach, let's fast forward. Opening night, you're about to walk out of the tunnel and you've put all this work in, this whole summer workout, and this is your defense. First of all, what do you think those feelings are going to be like? New school,
right.
This is your defense.
I'm gonna get emotional right now. Like, you know, when I was growing up, like, you know, coming through, not necessarily growing up, but when I started coaching, like, this was a dream of mine. You know,
That's right.
like, I wanted to be a coordinator, I wanted to be a head coach, and so, like, this means a lot to me. You know, this is not just me out there just getting a stipend or whatever. Like, I'm wanting to make a difference in these kids' lives, not just in football, but totally. Like, I text these kids all the time, you know, phone calls. Like, I have them text me, you know, sitting on the beach or just whatever. They just want to talk. And so building those relationships is huge to me. But when I go out on that field the first Friday night, like, I had a little of these butterflies we played the spring game against each other. Just stepping out on that field the first time in the role that I'm going to be in, it's just a blessing. Like, I can't, you know, like, I'm still getting emotional. I can't thank the amount of people or thank all the people that have poured into me to allow me to be in this position that I'm in. Because without all these people pouring into Justin Bowen, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair. I wouldn't have the position that I'm in. So I know it's probably going to be pretty emotional for me. I know we play our first home game against Lincoln. But being able to look out there and say, hey, you know, this is not about me, but that's my defense, you know, and, you know, these are my guys. You know, I think it's going to be pretty special, and being able, and I just hope we can put something out there, you know, a product out there that the community can be proud of, because I know Southside is a proud community. They're going to support their guys, and so I hope I do a good job, and I hope we can do a good job just continuing to bring excitement to the community and continuing just to, like I said, put a product out there that they can be proud of. But I know that when I step out there the first Friday night, when we got our coaching stuff on and those kids are strapped up and we all got the same color on, that it'll probably get me. Somebody got a camera on it, you'll probably see some tears shed. But I'm really excited.
Coach, I appreciate you sitting in with us. You're the first segment we've done on this. You're the first guy I thought of when we were talking about doing new faces and new places, because of our connection, you know, the last year or so. But appreciate you, Coach, and good luck to you guys moving forward.
Yes, sir. Like I already told you, you know, you're doing a great job with everything you do here, and this whole, you know, Calhoun County, Etowah County, surrounding counties in Alabama where you've went and did all this stuff, you know, it's really making an impact, and, you know, all of us coaches and the kids for sure appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Coach. Thank you. It means a lot.